This is not a war zone, it's Arizona 2025, a place where sidewalks have turned into shelters, tents into homes, and trauma into routine. Women stand on corners not for choice, but for survival. Mental illness goes untreated while families sleep in cars and children grow up in chaos. The American dream didn't vanish, it collapsed. And in the ruins, a new reality has emerged, one of desperation, division, and silence. This is not just homelessness. This is a humanitarian crisis unfolding in broad daylight. And it's time we face it. Welcome to Globe Path Travel Documentary. Arizona, a land of beauty now shadowed by a growing crisis. People sleep on sidewalks with nothing but thin blankets and plastic sheets. Some stare into space for hours, lost in thoughts they can't escape. Others walk in circles, talking to themselves, not because they're dangerous, but because they're unwell and untreated. Mental illness is everywhere, but invisible. There are no clinics here, no counselors, just silence. Women stand alone at night, clutching their bags, fighting for dignity in a world that looks the other way. This isn't just about homelessness, it's about survival, trauma, and the collapse of care. Before we begin the next part of this video, please like and subscribe. Your support helps us keep telling the stories that matter. The rise of tents and urban economy shifts. This isn't the Arizona you see in travel brochures. In 2025, entire blocks in Phoenix and Tucson have turned into tent-lined corridors, not by design, but by desperation. These aren't camps, they're survival zones. People sleep on sidewalks using cardboard as mattresses and plastic sheets as roofs. Some lie just feet from traffic, exposed to noise, dust, and danger. Meals come from outreach vans, fast food leftovers, or whatever can be cooked on a small burner beside a storm drain. There's no kitchen, no bathroom, no privacy, just a daily routine built around staying alive. The rise of the gig economy promised freedom, but delivered instability. Jobs became short-term, unpredictable, and underpaid. Rent kept climbing while wages froze. Families who once lived in apartments now live in tents. Workers who once had steady jobs now hustle daily just to survive. The American dream wasn't lost, it was evicted. These tent cities are growing fast, forming informal communities with unwritten rules and shared pain. Some residents still go to work every morning, returning at night to a sleeping bag under the stars. Others spend their days searching for shelter, medical help, or simply a safe place to rest. And for women, the struggle is even harder, standing alone at night, guarding their belongings, fighting silently for dignity. This isn't just about poverty, it's about a system collapsing in plain sight. Before we begin the next part of this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us tell the stories that others ignore. Root causes of homelessness in Manhattan. Though this story centers on Arizona, the crisis echoes across the country. And nowhere is it more brutally visible than in Manhattan. Behind the shimmering skyline and billion-dollar real estate lies a humanitarian collapse. 1 in every 120 New Yorkers is homeless. That's not a statistic. That's a city failing its own people. Gentrification is gutting entire neighborhoods. In places like Harlem and the Lower East Side, longtime residents are being priced out by luxury developments and rent hikes that triple overnight. Families who've lived there for generations are forced out, their homes turned into investment properties or short-term rentals. The culture disappears, the community fractures. And the displaced? Many end up in shelters, cars, or on the streets. Mental illness is another silent driver. Thousands of homeless individuals suffer from untreated conditions like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and PTSD. But psychiatric beds have been slashed. Outreach programs are underfunded. Emergency services are overwhelmed. These people aren't dangerous, they're abandoned. Left to spiral in public, sleep under scaffolding, and break down in subway stations while the city looks away. Housing shortages make the crisis even crueler. Manhattan has homes, but not for the poor. Luxury condos sit empty, owned by shell companies and foreign investors. Meanwhile, shelters overflow and public housing crumbles. Section 8 vouchers are denied or ignored. The city's housing policy has created a paradox. Homes exist, but they're locked away from those who need them most. And behind it all is rising inequality. Wall Street bonuses hit record highs while minimum wage workers juggle 3 jobs and still can't afford rent. One emergency, a job loss, a hospital bill, a divorce, and people fall straight into homelessness. There's no safety net, just concrete. Arizona is not the exception, it's the forecast. Manhattan's crisis proves that these failures are national, systemic, and spreading. From coast to coast, the same forces are at work. Unaffordable housing, neglected mental health care, and policies that protect profit over people. This isn't just a warning, it's already happening. Women on the streets. Survival under threat. For homeless women in Arizona, every night is a gamble between hunger and harm. The streets aren't just cold, they're predatory. With limited access to women-only shelters and many facilities operating at full capacity or closing due to budget cuts, countless women are left exposed, not just to the elements, but to the worst parts of human behavior. Survival often means making impossible choices. Some women report being followed, harassed, or propositioned within hours of settling into a public space. Others speak of being coerced into dangerous exchanges, offering companionship, labor, or even their bodies, just to afford a motel room for one night of safety. These aren't isolated incidents, they're daily realities. Many carry trauma from domestic abuse, sexual violence, or childhood neglect. But instead of receiving care, they're met with suspicion, silence, or worse, criminalization. Police may ticket them for loitering, shelters may turn them away for lack of ID, and social services often require documentation or stability they simply don't have. Pregnant women sleep in alleyways. Mothers hide their children during outreach visits, fearing they'll be taken away. Hygiene becomes a luxury, privacy a memory, and dignity, it's something they have to fight for every single day. These aren't stories of scandal, they're stories of desperation, of women who were failed by abusive partners, failed by broken systems, and now failed by a society that looks away. Arizona's streets have become survival zones. And for women, the threat isn't just homelessness, it's exploitation, invisibility, and fear. Until the system prioritizes safety, trauma care, and gender-specific support, these women will remain unprotected. And their stories, raw, painful, and real, will continue to unfold in silence. Social divisions and hidden battle lines. Homelessness in Arizona isn't just a crisis of shelter. It's a mirror reflecting America's deepest fractures. Public parks, sidewalks, and underpasses have become contested zones where survival collides with resentment and visibility becomes a threat. Tensions between housed residents and the unhoused are no longer subtle, they're boiling. Police sweeps have become routine. Tents are torn down. Belongings are trashed. People are displaced again and again, not because they've committed a crime, but because their presence is deemed inconvenient. Neighborhood complaints trigger enforcement. Political debates frame the unhoused as a nuisance, not as citizens in crisis. Public spaces, once meant for everyone, are now battlegrounds. And beneath these confrontations lies a brutal truth. Race and class disparities are not just present, they're glaring. Black, Indigenous, and Latino communities are disproportionately affected. Generational poverty, systemic discrimination, and unequal access to housing and healthcare have pushed these groups to the margins. In Arizona, the face of homelessness is often a person of color, not by coincidence, but by design. These divisions aren't just social, they're moral. When a city chooses to fund police sweeps over mental health care, when it builds luxury condos instead of affordable housing, when it criminalizes poverty instead of addressing it, it's making a statement about who matters and who doesn't. Homelessness has exposed the fault lines between rich and poor, housed and unhoused, protected and punished. Arizona isn't just managing a crisis, it's revealing the battle lines of a society. The high cost of survival. Being homeless in Arizona isn't free, it's punishingly expensive. Every basic human need comes with a price tag. A rundown motel room costs $60 a night. A single shower at a truck stop? $10. A fast food meal? $5 if you're lucky. Multiply that by 7 days and survival starts to look like a luxury subscription, one that most unhoused individuals simply can't afford. Many of them aren't jobless. They're working full-time, minimum wage, sometimes even double shifts. They clean hotel rooms, stock shelves, serve food, and then they sleep in tents, cars, or alleyways. Not because they're lazy, because their paychecks vanish into overpriced motels, gas tanks, and vending machines. There's no room for savings, no room for error, just a daily hustle to stay alive. And the system? It profits from their pain. Motels charge inflated rates knowing desperate people have no other option. Convenience stores sell overpriced snacks to those with no kitchens. Even shelters sometimes require fees or paperwork that the unhoused can't provide. It's a cruel economy, one built on scarcity, desperation, and survival. This isn't just poverty, it's exploitation. When staying alive costs more than living in a home, something is deeply broken. Arizona's streets aren't just filled with the unhoused, they're filled with workers, parents, veterans, and students who are being drained by a system that turns survival into a transaction. And every day more people fall into this trap, not because they failed, but because the math stopped working. Failures in the shelter system. Arizona's shelter system, designed to be a refuge, has become a last resort, and for many, not even that. Overwhelmed by demand and crippled by underfunding, these facilities are buckling under pressure. Long lines stretch around buildings each night with no guarantee of entry. People wait for hours in extreme heat or cold, only to be turned away once beds run out. Inside, conditions are far from safe. Strict curfews mean anyone arriving late, even by minutes, is locked out. Personal belongings are often stolen. Fights break out. Women report harassment. Vulnerable individuals, including the elderly and mentally ill, are left unprotected. Staff are undertrained, overworked, and sometimes indifferent. The atmosphere is tense, crowded, and chaotic. Some shelters impose rigid rules that feel more like punishment than protection. Mandatory check-ins, forced religious services, or restrictions on personal items. Privacy is non-existent. Families are separated. LGBTQ+ individuals often face discrimination or are placed in unsafe environments. For many, the streets feel safer than the shelters meant to shield them. These institutions were built to offer hope. Instead, they've become places of fear and frustration. When the system meant to protect the vulnerable becomes another source of trauma, it's not just a failure, it's a betrayal. Arizona's shelter crisis isn't just about capacity. It's about dignity, safety, and the urgent need for reform. Nonprofit organizations battling homelessness. Amid Arizona's homelessness crisis, the boarded-up homes, the overcrowded shelters, the mental health collapse, a quiet resistance is unfolding. Nonprofit organizations are stepping in where government systems have broken down, offering not just aid, but dignity. Groups like Circle the City provide mobile medical care to the unhoused, treating infections, chronic illnesses, and mental health conditions right on the streets. Their vans roll through Phoenix neighborhoods, staffed by nurses and doctors who listen without judgment. For many, it's the only health care they'll receive all year. St. Vincent de Paul serves thousands of hot meals daily, offers transitional housing, and runs programs that help people find jobs, reconnect with family, and rebuild their lives. Their volunteers, retirees, students, former homeless individuals, work long hours with no spotlight, driven by compassion alone. These organizations operate on shoestring budgets, often relying on donations and grants that barely cover the need. They face burnout, bureaucratic hurdles, and rising demand, yet they persist, they show up, they serve. In a system that criminalizes poverty and neglects mental illness, these nonprofits are the last line of defense. They are the backbone of compassion, proof that humanity still exists even when institutions fail. And in the darkest corners of Arizona's streets, They offer something rare and radical: hope. Governmental reforms and challenges. Arizona's government has made promises: housing bonds to build affordable units, mental health outreach to reach the streets, emergency funding to stabilize shelters. On paper, it looks like progress, but in reality, it's stalled. Political gridlock has turned urgency into delay. Press conferences announce plans, but the streets remain unchanged. Bureaucracy slows everything. Funding gets tied up in committees. Proposals are watered down to appease opposing parties. Meanwhile, shelters close, outreach teams shrink, and the homeless population grows. Budget cuts hit the very programs meant to protect the vulnerable. Mental health initiatives are underfunded. Affordable housing projects are delayed or downsized. And the people most affected, the unhoused, the mentally ill, the working poor, are rarely at the table when decisions are made. There's a lack of bold leadership, a fear of political backlash, a tendency to treat homelessness as a nuisance instead of a humanitarian emergency. Without decisive action, these reforms remain just words, headlines without impact. Arizona doesn't need more promises. It needs execution. Because every day of delay means more people sleeping on sidewalks, more untreated trauma, and more lives lost to a system stuck in neutral. The crisis won't wait, and without real leadership, it will only deepen. Conclusion: embracing hope. Amid the shadows, Arizona's collapse isn't isolated. It's a reflection of wounds etched deep across America's cities. The boarded-up homes, the overcrowded shelters, the untreated trauma, they reveal a system stretched to its breaking point. But even in this darkness, light persists. Every hot meal served by a volunteer, every outreach worker who listens without judgment, every citizen who speaks out, shares a story, or demands reform, they are the resistance. They are the roof that compassion still breathes, even when policy fails. This isn't just Arizona's fight. It's a national reckoning, a test of whether society will continue to criminalize poverty or confront it, whether leaders will keep issuing press releases or finally take action, whether we as people will choose silence or solidarity. So share this story, amplify the truth, challenge the systems, and above all, be the hope. Because change doesn't begin in boardrooms or ballot boxes. It begins with voices like yours. Thank you for watching this video. If you learned something, felt something, or have a question, drop it in the comments below. Your voice matters. Like this video to help spread the message. Subscribe to the channel to support more stories that need to be told. And don't forget to press the bell icon so you never miss an update. This isn't just a video. It's a movement. Be part of it. Be the change.